Policy and curriculum, so handbook updates.
Thanks for joining the committee tonight. I think you're just a visit. Maybe.
Okay, we'll do the elementary updates first. Principals, we met before the last regular school board meeting, went through the handbook. And I summarized the changes to the elementary handbook here. First of all, on pages 5 and 6 are attendance regulations, which includes talking about absences and tardies, which references fourth class to 431. We're removing it from the handbook, but what we're doing is we're changing to the Fox River's wording in their student handbook, because even though both policies, both Fox River's and ours, is based on 431, the way Darlene and the school has it outlined, it flows a little bit better and it's more consistent. So we thought we're just going to change ours to what Fox River has. They're both. It's not,
Okay.
it just flows better and it's more consistent. The elementary kids would have that in K6, and they see the same wording when they get to 7th and 8th grade. And again, ours is already based on 431, so is hers. It's just changing it that way. Page 16 in the elementary. This is bus transportation section. This would be removing what we currently have and changing to the Waterford Base School District and Dowson Transportation Company, the approved bus rules that are
we approved
this
that.
year.
Okay.
So that's just updating that with the new rules. Page 17, change happened this year. We no longer have what's called a detention form. It's now an instant report form. So it's just changing the language from detention form to instant report for consistency there. Page 19 is similar to the first thing I talked about, the harassment. We're removing the current language from the elementary handbook, and we're changing to the updated wording that Fox River has. Again, we have the same components, but when we compare them, just for consistency, we like what Fox River has, so we're just going to change to what they have. It's not changing the policy or anything, it's just more consistent wording. Page 20, we're just removing the section on police liaison because we no longer have one in the district. Page 24 is the appendix. We're removing the old behavior detention form and we're putting a copy of the instant report form, which I referenced earlier on page 17. We're just putting a copy of that form in there. And the last change would be on page 25. Currently, what we've been doing at the elementary buildings is we no longer send home the whole 25 pages of the handbook because of the waste of paper. What we have is now posted on a website, and I think we all send like a link to the parents that goes directly to the handbook. But we've been sending home just one paper copy, the last verification, to get that signature for them to return. What Darlene shared with us is what they have at Fox River. They do an email verification that the parents have received the handbook electronically. So in other words, they just a couple weeks after school starts, they send out an email blast as the verification, and if it bounces back, right? If it bounces back, then they follow up. But assuming it doesn't bounce back, that's the verification that they have received it, and
Okay.
the assumption is they've read it, but the verification is that they've received it if the email doesn't bounce back. So we're going to do the whole thing electronically.
And the wording says that on there too.
Yes.
Parents, guardians, you will receive an email during the first 2 weeks of school advising the building principal classroom has reviewed the information, student handbook. If you have any questions, the handbook can be found on the Fox River webpage. If your email does not bounce back to us, it will verify that you've received the email. We strongly encourage parents, guardians to review the handbook with your child if there are any questions. I've never had an issue or problem with it.
I don't think anybody's ever said anything, but I don't agree with the fact that they actually received it, because you know what happens, a lot of people start Gmail accounts and Yahoo accounts, and they go through those like they're water, you know?
You might. Well, there's a flag that can be set.
You can get a read request flag or something, but
Right. And I guess if that was put in, I would agree with it.
you put a disclaimer anyway, so what's the difference, I guess?
How long have you been doing that? Couple of
Since we
years?
started
2
our,
years.
well, this would be the 4th year now coming up, or the
Okay.
5th year, because I practiced it the 1 year.
And you haven't had any problems?
No, I
No.
never have. And
I
then
think that's because you have your introduction night.
could be-
Everybody knows the rules when they go through that.
We just talked about moving it down to the elementary, just to try to model where we were at with it.
Mhm.
Seems like most of the stuff is pretty mundane.
It's also a way for us to find out if parents' emails go through and stuff, because the ones that, in the beginning of the year, sometimes parents assume they have the same one, and then one's bounced back, so then it causes our secretaries to be able to call and say, hey, and we get updated emails within the first 2 weeks of school right away, which has been very, very helpful.
As long as there's some way of verifying that they received the email.
You can do a read request, but they don't have to verify it. They can send it back without a read request, you know? I don't know what you do. I mean, other than that statement there is pretty good. I just got one thing, has nothing to do with this. Can we add to our notices? Right now we have committee chair. Can we put down the second on those also? I keep forgetting who's the second on these.
On a second.
Are you? Okay.
I was just gonna say I'm the same way.
So any questions for the elementary
I don't
handbook?
think so. Looks straightforward.
Right, it's just cleaning things up, there's really no major, new items added or things like that. It's kind of make it more in line with Fox Server and what we're doing.
You are going to send them out a email link, or email link to the PDF of the book.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You wanna move over to this chair over here? You're like in the hot seat there or something. I see you starting to sweat. And you're going,
Just work on my tan here.
all right. Enough said.
Okay. All right, and we'll let Darlene do the middle school.
I did not fill out a form because Jeff has it all down there. I updated the bus and the attendance and the harassment, just like he's done. The only thing different is I had the old technology policy in mind, so all we did was I have put the updated revised of August 11th. I didn't see a need to take a sheet of paper to tell you that, and then because of my library aid being done at 3 o'clock, I had to change. Library's open from 3 o'clock and it used to say 3:15. So I changed the 15 to a 00. And then, because we only accept, there's no cash, everything is in the cafeteria, the word no cash came out of by the lunch account thing. That was the only changes I had, so, except for the updated like Jeff had here, so. Otherwise, we
You
try
let
to.
Jeff do all the work and then you just kind of.
Oh,
Yeah, but she did the original work and they just took hers, so
Yeah,
you got.
so shouldn't have done anything.
I did the original